to the Indie Wrestling Guide with your hosts, the Hall of Fame referee, Jhawk, the not-so-mysterious benefactor, JGold, and the legendary Charly Butters.
So Jhawk, why is this guy just sending random hate to me because I recommended you for a referee spot?
So mad.
I have no idea who that dude is. You give me the picture of the guy. I have no idea who he is.
I've seen him before at shows, but I don't understand why he does not like you to the point where he'd give me an angry face when I recommended you to ref another show.
I mean, I'm not available either way. I mean, like I didn't even come to Memphis, but I can't do it because I just got other stuff going on this weekend. But
the guy is angry face emojiing Butters about you. Something that you are has made him so upset.
Will thinks you fucked his girlfriend back in '96, so I think that's what it probably is.
I hate to admit that publicly. If I did, it was not in '96. I'm going to throw that out there right now.
I can't believe how this guy had to have. He saw your name and he was like, "Nope, I got to say something. No way.
I got to prevent this guy from coming in."
Mm-hmm.
I can't see his face. He might take my new girlfriend from me.
He's so mad.
I mean, if he would have been at RPW on Saturday, I might have been able to understand it. But you can't be this even before that. Oh, I don't know.
So the WWEID thing came around, and we were all excited for some of our favorites to get WWEID'd.
Some of our pals, yep.
Yeah, some of our pals, and never thought in a million years it would affect my little booking that I do on the side. And then it did this week. So.
Listen, the card is going to change, brother.
It is.
You got to use a pencil.
If you have seen on Neo Pro socials and everything, Shelby Wilder is now going to face Big Sam. So he's not going to be in the pre-show match that we had originally talked about on here a couple weeks ago. I had to find a replacement. Luckily, I did. It was very simple. Last week's guest, Sammy Suntimer, is going to be stepping in to face Zay Garcia. So
I thought you were going to tell me like Masato Tanaka has agreed to fly in and wrestle for IWGuide.
Josh, you will know when that happens because you're going to be footing half that fucking bill with me, brother. Like,
we've
we've already
have to
discussed
handle the visa and the immigration issues if that comes up.
Nah, he's just a tourist. It's all fine. He doesn't technically work.
Visa. Right.
He going to do the Paul Heyman bereavement fair on the flight.
Yeah. Right.
No, you'll know. Like I said, March is coming up, and there's going to be some discussions to foot the bill for part of that matchup that's going to happen. So, yeah.
TRW, tax refund wrestling coming soon.
I was going to say I want to be one of those promoters who's like, no, I paid you already, and then to go, oh, look over there, and then run out the back door.
We're going to close down in January. We're going to be back up by like March and closed again by like
that's right,
by June. So
we're closing it down. Yep.
No, you'll be one of those promoters who's like, I've got proof I paid all my guys, and then post a proof that the flight's still not fucking paid. And like, yeah, I told you.
Maybe your Cash App is incorrect.
by the way, true story, and most people listening probably know what I'm talking about when I say that one. But
well. Jhawk, I like to pay you in love and hugs,
Yeah, my wife wants to talk to you about that, by the way.
Speaking of love and hugs, I went to AIW on Friday night.
You were telling me it was a good vibe, huh?
I won't know. It was a fun show.
Yeah.
However, when you pack 500 people into a room and you only have 2 rows of chairs, and then you watch people that paid for GA ticket like start fighting over like random loose chairs that are for like, security or like people like VIP people like Patty and like the Mrs. Dad and his people. It's pretty fun to watch. I hid behind a barricade and then like was standing next to Jeremy's kids, one of them that does the ring bell, one of his daughters.
Mm-hmm.
I was standing next to her, and then all of a sudden, like, people just started like coming up behind and crowding that area, and I'm just like, come on, like, get away from me. I literally put a barricade in between me, and you guys just found a way around it, and then are now around me, like, talking and saying things that make no sense, and like just annoying me.
That makes my day better, knowing that they annoyed you all night long.
So they 100% could fit like 4 to 6 rows of chairs and then let everybody else kind of shuffle in behind that. And that's absolutely what they need to do next time, because my God, it was ridiculous. Like, there was people that like started getting into the aisles of chairs and just standing in front of the chair people. Like, it was fucking stupid. Like, Patty had people standing in front of her when she was in her chair.
Well,
Her and her son. And I'm like, how fucking dumb are these people? Like, they don't understand that, like, you don't just go and stand in front of like people's chairs.
Well, I will tell you, it looked like a madhouse. It looked awesome. It was on the YouTube stream. It was very well done. There wasn't a lot of room between the ring and the barricades and the stage, so some of the dives were a little bit more muted as far as how they were handled on the feed. But I did not see Dustin and Wadsworth. I don't know where they were sitting.
They were like on the opposite side of me, over like by this wall, and I think people crowded over in front of them, so I don't even think they could fucking see from where they were, but they had the camera thing. That's all they could see.
They have a dope looking desk now too. They have like the AIW branded desk
filled in front of them. You could not see them. It was. That's what
I was looking for.
It got so packed in there. People just didn't care. They just went wherever they wanted. Like,
but I think
it was a great house for them. But at the same time, like, the people that were there was maybe a handful of regulars. The rest was like all new people that had no idea what they were doing. They had no like integrity about things. Like, there was old drunk people oogling and saying shit like to wrestlers, like, while like not loud enough for everybody to hear, but like if you were in the crowd, you could fucking hear people saying some shit that, you know, shouldn't be fucking said.
Yeah. I mean,
about like Jocelyn and stuff, and I was like, it was pretty fucking pathetic. Like, I was not having a great time. But the card itself was a lot of fun. They started off with Alec Price and Mikey, which just fucking killed it. They were great. Yeah. By intermission, I was ready to go, but I was like, I gotta stay and like give out the rest of these awards and like try to like mingle a little bit. So I forced myself.
80 your award?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
She got it like before the show even started. I was able to stop her real quick and give it to her, and she gave me a hug and everything. And then she dipped out to go do her stuff. So, well, but like it was just so like I even like Reese and I left after the first match back from intermission, and kind of like there was like a bar downstairs that looks like somebody's basement.
Yeah.
And then there's like a bowling alley and stuff. We went and sat down there on this couch and just like decompressed, because it was just so. It was just too much.
Well, I'll tell you this. I really, really enjoyed a handful of those matches. That Mikey prize match was awesome. The Swoggle Microman match was exactly what it should have been. That spectacle, that like putting Tom Dunn as the referee in that match is one of the greatest decisions ever.
That was genius.
Yeah, I mean, it was. And then the Effie match and against what's his face was really good. Marion Fontaine, him coming out like Freddie Mercury was awesome. He looked just like Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, the body, everything. Like, he has a tiny waist, the whole thing. But yeah, that really worked. I in general, I think I like, and I'm not talking about from a person inside the venue, but I like the way that looked like a chaotic AIW show on video, exactly like it should look. That's how it looked. And it felt like that. It felt big for them, and I was happy about that. It just felt like there was just people on top of people, and that's a cool vibe at a wrestling show. Not the same as where I was last night, and the rumor is I'm still there up in the third balcony at the Hammerstein Ballroom for GCW's The People versus GCW. If we could just talk for a second about The People versus GCW. So the gimmick was we fucked up the show the first time, and we're not going to fuck it up the second time. And let's be honest.
In fairness, it was not their fault they fucked it up the second time.
No, this show was fucked up the second time, not because of it. Forget the Allie stuff. I feel terrible for her. Awful. Like, that's awful. You never want, like, they had that blow off going, and you just feel it just, and I'm not a huge Allie fan, but as a person, go ahead. You know, like, I feel horrible. That is the worst way, especially when you're in the business. This is your big moment. The air was out of the building as soon as that happened. Then the fucking commission with the ambulances. So you had the 6-man guys just dicking around. At that point, Jayhawk, I'm going to go with asking you on this one. At that point, just cancel that match and roll to the next one. There was no reason why every single match on that card needed their full time. The way it was paced was brutal. The fact that you had a 9-man ladder match to lead off, and then you had to build a cage somewhere in there, and then you had to take the ropes off somewhere in there. It was one of the more poorly paced.
They threw every piece of shit at the wall to see what would stick and did it all, man. Ropes off, ropes on, cage, ladders.
The Battle Royal before the pre-show Battle Royal.
Fucking Battle Royal.
Wait, but they wasted the Juggalos. They wasted PCO. Hollow Wicked or Frightmare was in there. They wasted all these guys in this pre-show Battle Royal nonsense. On the other card there, Marcus Mathers had to eat a pin from Mr. Danger. No idea why that needed to happen. Or from Fuego del Sol. Why did Marcus Mathers need to eat that pin? You could have had Mr. Danger eat that pin. But the way it was
building
booked,
Danger, even though there was another Mr. Danger, I think it's dumb that he's just running with this name that's somebody's name in Japan for how long? Like, it's so weird.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the way it was presented was the ladder match was awesome. At least there was no AJ Gray to fall off the ladders onto the floor this time around. The spots in the ladder match were amazing. If you let off with that, forget. And then the next match, it wasn't. The pacing was so off. That ladder match was so good, like so fun. And to have Tremont win, everybody was so amped up. And to see like the very next match with Effie, that the air went. So if that was going to happen, and you needed an ambulance. Tell the guys, I get it, Homicide and Reefer, I get it, guys. We wanted you on the card. You've all been here already. It's not necessary. I know you want to get Ricky Morton out there to take a destroyer or give a destroyer or whatever. It was not necessary. Let's call it back. Sorry, we have to cut a couple matches here and there. There was just really some of those matches. Did they need? I get the ECW Trios match was fun. It was nostalgic, but there were some like the Mason Richard Holiday cage match. You didn't need it. It's nobody even knew what the fuck
should have been somewhere. A lot of people said that should have been somewhere else because then he could have done blood and did everything else.
Yes,
and it could have headlined another show.
Yes, there was no blood. Show. Yes, you do a match like that. There was no blood. If it was a blow up and it was a huge deal, the PCO destroying the TNA title was one of the most surreal things I've ever seen in my life. To be honest,
and doing that on the pre-show where no one was really paying any attention to it.
Right, it was wiped out on the pre-show, and then, later on in the night, by the time 11:15 came around, I was like with my kid, I'm like, oh my God, if we don't make an 11:25 train home, the next train's not until after 12. I won't get home until after 1. And then after that, the next train's on at 3 a.m. because it's a Sunday, not a Saturday. So the trains aren't running. We would have been fucked. I don't know how Struggle sat through the whole thing. I was in there just bugging him, Joey against Tanaka, Megan Bain and Kogar, that spot where Otis Kogar takes the bear mace and he falls off the top rope and then throws himself through a table is utterly ridiculous. And Sawyer Wreck retired, and then she came back, and nobody really retires. Anyway, I thought the Violence is Forever Garbage Daddies match was fun. It was awesome. I like seeing Dom at the Hammerstein. Good for him. I was really happy for Dom. But a lot of those other matches, we did not need Barnett and Baron Corbin on that. There was no reason.
No, Baron Corbin could have totally been the match for Cardona.
Yes, instead of Mr. Invincible or whatever the hell his name is. What are we doing? There was no reason to, out of nowhere, after that ECW match and the guys are missing each other and everything was fun, have to stop the flow of the fucking show to take the ring ropes off. It didn't make sense. GCW is what it is. It's always my last word on this one because I go on too long. That they should be no longer allowed to run the Hammerstein. No longer. I have been to two. Oh, and our pal Orange Flatsy was there, and I didn't get a chance to give him a big hug. He was on the line, and we were getting shoved around. But they are not allowed to run the Hammerstein ever again. Let's just put it at that. You are no longer. I heard from people. I was talking to some people there. It's $85,000 for the rent to rent it for the night. How the fuck did they justify that? They had 120 guys there, and I heard they didn't even pay the guys on the Battle Royal. These are just rumors. I don't know at all. Blah blah blah. People are going to be like, no, I'm just giving you my thoughts. but I heard it is $85,000 to rent.
They're getting that income tax check, baby. They know that's coming.
That's crazy to me. It's crazy. It's crazy. You had to have done 200,000 at least. Plus, the insurance was probably 10 G's alone. The incidentals, they went overtime. How do you make money on this show? How? It's not possible.
No, I doubt very highly they made money on this show. I mean, I feel bad for them. They were put in a tough spot with Ali catching injury because of the commission guidelines. But my thing is, you know what the commission guidelines are. It's not the first time you've run in New York State. It's not the first time you run the Hammerstein. You know what the guidelines are. I would have just done an intermission there and not brought the guy out for that 6-man tag until the ambulance was there.
I don't think they knew it. I think when they brought those guys out, they were ready to go, and I think the commission stopped them. I think they were ready to roll. The bell rang. All of a sudden, MLJ got on and was like, we're not allowed to do anything because of the ambulance. Like, I honestly don't think they even realized that all of a sudden they were without what they needed. I just think that's just kind of that, like, the way New York handles shit. But that was such a deflator for people to wait around. And you're right in the beginning. Like, also, there was nothing wrong if you started the show at 7:30 or 7 o'clock on a Sunday. You didn't have to start it at 8 for the pay. It just wasn't necessary. Like, you started 7, you ended 11. Instead, you started at 6:30 with 2 of these really long pre-shows. You didn't get, that's 6 hours. You can't, there's no reason for 6 hours at GCW ever.
Well, here's the thing. If you actually like subscribed to Triller and you were looking at the schedule, there was no mention of a 6:30 pre-show. It acted like the show itself started at 7.
Yeah.
I came in what I thought was 45 minutes late. I see they've got a countdown clock on the big screen for when the show's starting, and Brett Lauderdale out there killing time. Yeah. They couldn't time the pre-show right either.
He killed time, and then they did the intros for the match to start the show, for the ladder match.
Yeah, but it's like, you don't know, WWE doesn't need a 90-minute goddamn pre-show, much less GCW. I'm sorry. If you have to do a pre-show to make sure the camera cut or whatever, 30 minutes, one match, get it moving.
Yeah,
period.
They did too, and I have a picture of, like, you want a jobber battle royal, a battle royal of guys who are just happy to be there. That was this battle royal.
Like, I call somebody on Twitter who follows independent wrestling very closely, who got their cut. They didn't recognize everybody.
No, I didn't know who half those people were. Why did the Juggalos come out? Whatever.
This is a person that traveled to Philadelphia for shows, traveled to New York State for show, from like Indiana and shit. Like that, like they've been to the Jeffersonville arena in Indiana like multiple times. They didn't recognize everybody. If somebody like that doesn't recognize everybody, you got too many fucking people on the card.
I just felt like you put on did you just want to cram the Insane Clown Posse onto something that, like, don't bring, like, what are we doing? You bringing these guys out there for that? Like, I don't know.
They said it was a precursor because they're going to do stuff down the road, so it's just whatever.
If you could have told, then I'll just go back to starting it earlier. If you could have told me, because I'm going to that Pro Wrestling Junkie show next Sunday at the Mecca. It's a big super show, me and Bagelmonger. That's starting at 5 on a Sunday. That's the sweet spot. You start at 5 on a Sunday. You don't start at 8 o'clock at night. It's not WrestleMania. It's not Royal Rumble. It's not All In.
But Josh, you said that you were off the next day, so that was the whole point. Was you
yes,
could,
but
you
if
could
you
go
start
to
earlier,
the show.
But if you start earlier, you don't go over that 11 o'clock, which everybody was like, "Holy shit, what are we doing?" You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, all right,
Yep.
that's my roundup. I am still in the balcony, so when we are doing the show today, I'll help clean up.
So
the commission clearly gave them permission to run past 11 o'clock, and Brett clearly didn't mind paying the money. So, what do you do at that point?
Mm-hmm.
So I hit you up the other day because I still hadn't got my Danhausen poster that you got for me from New York Comic Con, and it said it was delivered weeks ago, and I never received it. So now we're in a bind of trying to find who got my nice Danhausen poster in my area.
I'm going to go back to it. I mailed it from the mailroom at my office. I'll go back and get everything tomorrow since I'll be in the office, and I'll find out what's going on. But that should have came to you. I honestly put that in the mail and was just like wipe my hands. I was like, done and done.
And I was like, I would have mentioned it when I got it. I didn't. Yeah. And I was like, finally, I was like, do you ever send that? And you're like, yeah, weeks ago. And I'm like, oh, God damn it.
Yeah, that's weird. I'll find out for you tomorrow. But yes, I'm sorry about the missing Danhausen. That sucks that I can't get it. Yeah, I'll find it.
So I'm late today to record because literally, as I was getting ready to close up shop, this guy came in at like 7 and we closed at 8. And he spent 55 minutes wandering around the store buying stuff. He had at least 9 bags of stuff when he left, and they were mostly all women action figures, women's WWE figures, AEW figures, Marvel figures, DC figures, Witchblade, any anime female figures we had, he bought. He went crazy and bought so much. It was like $800 worth, and it made me hit bonus and
fuck yeah.
So it was awesome, and I wasn't really complaining. I was like, all right, I'm getting an extra 50 out of this, so fuck yeah. So perverts for the win, I guess.
Giant pervert. He's gonna go home and swim in his pool.
I swear to God, he's probably something. He's doing something with them. I was like, he was wearing scrubs, so I'm like, maybe he's like taking them to the hospital for people, or I don't know, but I didn't get that vibe. He was talking about he needed certain ones for his collection, WWE ones. So I'm like, I don't know.
His collection. Yeah.
Feel bad for all those figures. They're going to be touching his privates.
There's going to be some weird stop action video in the hentai section on Pornhub.
You would know. You would know.
I will neither confirm nor deny.
Right.
Sir.
Shout outs, Zach, Andrew, and Patty.
Hello.
Hey, Patty.
It was great to see Patty. I helped her move and get people out of her way so she could at least see the show on Friday night. And then she gave me this really cool wooden cat thing that hangs above my door. And it's like a cat, like, I'll have to take a picture and show you guys. It's really cool. So she gave me that.
What's on this weekend?
All right, over on Triller TV, this coming Saturday, January 25th at 6 p.m., House of Glory presents Final Warning 2025, featuring Mike Santana defending the House of Glory Heavyweight Championship against Kenta. Also on the card, Ricky Starks against Charles Mason, Gilla Fatu defending the House of Glory Crown Jewel Championship against Rhino, and much, much more. That is Saturday, 6 p.m. on Triller TV. And I am going to throw an honorable mention to Future Star Wrestling. They have a show at 10 o'clock on Saturday. And on that card, a WWEID match with Marcus Mather and our boy Cam Holloway. So
yeah, the third of their third match against each other. Sam is up, I believe, 2-0. So
and so Cam making his Vegas debut on Saturday. I definitely want to get that out there.
Yeah. So over on the IWTV side, Friday, January 24th, 7 p.m. doors, 8 p.m. bell. From Logan Square Auditorium in Chicago, Illinois, it is freelance, no ring time for the week. This is some card. You got Shazza McKenzie versus Laney Luck, Elliott versus Trevor Outlaw versus Angel Escalera versus Alfredo Albiter, Isaiah Velasquez versus Trent Wrigley versus Eye Candy, Darren Corbin versus Reagan Lytle, Devin Monroe versus Blair Onyx, Shane Mercer versus Cody Lane, Bang & Matthews versus the Best Bros. Then the Freelance Legacy Championship, Coda Hernandez versus Sabin Gage, and the Freelance Championship, Alfonso Gonzalez versus the aforementioned Danhausen. That's all on Friday at 8 o'clock on Indie Wrestling Television Network. Also, I'm going to be doing the Main Event Network's Main Event Mixer, our network, on Sunday at noon. So tune in Sunday at noon to the Main Event Network's YouTube channel. And it's going to be me and a crew of shows going over the Royal Rumble for the week after. Those guys do TV wrestling, and that's sometimes right in my wheelhouse. So that's what we're doing.
Weekly reminder, 880 Wrestling, Thursday Night Fights, 8 p.m. on YouTube, indiewrestling.us. And I think it's also on Instagram and a bunch of other places. Also, future dates you need to know, February 8th, AIW Ice Oh Baby in Youngstown, Ohio, right after Toy-Hio. And February 15th, Neo Pro Wrestling White Noise in Canton, Ohio, featuring Mikey Montgomery against Gary J for the IWGuide title.
Interviewing.
All right, this week, joining us is a member of the Black Hand Society and one of our another 880 student, as this has been 880 student month. We have the Black Sheep, Nix Wilde.
Yo, what is up, IWGuide?
What is going
What's
on?
up?
I'm so happy to have you.
It's good to be here. It's good to. I mean, it's bad to be here. Ugh. No, it's good to be here.
We have kind of watched your beginnings from all the way when we first had MV on the show, and started all the way into when you guys were doing your thing in that first building. So
Yeah, the
it's good to see.
wildflowers and
Yeah.
everything
That-
from that. And
That MV Young podcast was the first episode I ever listened of you guys.
awesome.
right.
Well, thank you.
Nice.
That was a big deal to us, and we loved having MV on, and we were really happy that he decided to come do that with us. So.
One of the
Heck yeah.
most transparent interviews we've ever had. MV was
Yeah.
all about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll connect that he appreciate the fact that we actually are like honest about shit and we don't try to be nice to everybody just because we might talk to them at some point in the future.
But we're not going to be mean to you, we promise. There's no reason to be just yet. So,
Yeah, that
Right.
keyword there yet.
right.
Sure.
Maybe if you leave me in the Hammerstein ballroom for 6.5 hours for a GCW show, we'll have a problem. But otherwise, I think
Brutal.
Oh,
okay.
Josh.
That was
Oh.
a 2 day. That was a 2 day event for me. I watched that in pieces.
I was there. It was rough. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's get started because I got my baseline questions that I like to ask first, and then we kind of get into more of it. But I like, especially with students and folks who've been kind of in one area for a little bit. Tell me about your upbringing as far as wrestling goes and how you found yourself at 880.
I started watching wrestling when I was like 8. Like it was actually right after my parents got divorced. Pro wrestling was there and like consistent, and was one of the only consistent and cool things in my life. So in a lot of ways, like pro wrestling really was like that distraction for me during that time. To get real with you right off the jump. And then wrestling, I kind of started falling out of love with it in like high school, and then got back into it in college. And then AEW really brought it back. But the first AEW event I went to, I got a flyer for Enjoy, and it was before they started. It was 2019.
Oh, okay.
I think. Yeah, it was like 2019. And it was right before the pandemic, and they were going to start up in 2020. And then boom, pandemic hit. But I still watched all their shows on YouTube. And then the first like Enjoy event that I went to, where the main event was Maxime Paler versus MV Young, that was the show that I was like, all right, I got to do this. I got to figure out how to do this. I want to get involved. Like a year later, MV Young opened a school. So it was very, it just kind of all came together. It aligned.
So what were you watching as a kid? What was the foray? Was it WWE at the time? Were you doing any indies or like Ring of Honor? What was were you brought up in the Pittsburgh area? How did that kind of play into things?
Yeah, I've lived around like within an hour of Pittsburgh is where I grew up. I didn't really get into indies until I went to see I saw Black Diamond Wrestling in
Wow.
I know. Yeah, Jhawk knows.
Yeah.
And that's actually where I saw Keith Hot for the first time. And like I had seen, and I've talked to them about this a lot. And I saw Matt Connard, maybe Edric too during those times. I went to a couple,
there around that time, yeah.
I went to a couple BDW shows, and but I didn't really get into indie wrestling until I like found Enjoy. Honestly, it wasn't as there's not as much. I'm trying not. I want to be. How do I say this in a nice way? There wasn't as much like representation in Pittsburgh indie wrestling for a long time. So when I saw Enjoy and I saw the representation and I saw how beautiful that was, I was like, okay, this is what wrestling like can be. It can be not just for everybody, but anybody who is like actually, works at it. But it's
Who was your
anyway.
person? Who was your person back then? Like that made you fall in love with wrestling? Oh, it's John Cena.
John Cena. I'm a big John Cena mark. Always have been, always will be. I mean, I was that age group. I was the demo, and they fucking hooked me. I was a big Batista dude. I loved I loved JBL after the fact. I loved Edge after the fact, like when they weren't making me cry as a child.
When you
But
realized what they were actually doing,
yeah,
how now you're like, oh, that
I
makes
want to
sense.
do that. I want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So you get to 880, all right? You're like, I want to do that. So you take your first bump. So tell us, what did it feel like in your mind? And did you go, oh shit, do I still want to do this? Like,
The first bump wasn't so bad.
mm,
It was the running the ropes that was the bad part.
mm,
I after the first day of running the ropes, I woke up the next day and I was like, damn, my ass hurts so bad. And I had like my entire right cheek was completely black and blue. It was gross. It was nasty. My partner at the time was like, I don't know about this. And I was like, nah, I gotta go back. They told me it'll callus up,
mm-hmm.
and it does. But yeah, that was the running the ropes was brutal. I found that my body could handle it way better than I ever thought it could.
Nice. Nice. So you're in this now. You're doing your thing at 880, and your first match is coming up. So tell us a little bit about who was first and how did you think it went?
My first match was against a wrestler named Jeremy Cobert, or Jace Carr.
Jace Car Race Car?
Yeah.
Jace Carr Race Car. Jace
Jace
Carr
Carr
Race
race car.
All
Jace Carr
right,
Race
okay.
Car. It was good. He took good care of me. It was a lot of fun. He beat the shit out of me in a couple ways, but it really was nothing unsafe. It was nothing unsafe, but it was enough to make me be like, it was a person I hadn't wrestled, that wasn't like one of the other people training, like one of my friends, and he just laid it in, and it like I remember being like, oh, the first like punch he gave me, like right here, I was like, oh my god, okay, and yeah, that really woke me up, and I think that it helped me a lot. I learned a lot from that first match.
So let me ask you. So now you said that, and I haven't asked this question to anybody. So now I'm thinking of this.
Mhm.
Do you find a second gear or in your head a level of aggression that you're like, shit, I was never that guy. I was never that person. Like if I got punched today, right? I am not raining blows back, like doing whatever. I'm not like, oh, I'm giving it back to you. When you're in a wrestling ring and you get a good one, right? And you're like, and then it's your first couple of weeks or whatever, your first match. Do you go, holy crap, I have a layer of aggression under me that I had no idea I had? Like, does that come up in your mind?
For me, yeah. I mean, 100%. There's like, for me, there has to be like a level of I have to flip some sort of switch. Like this is not, I'm not myself right now. That's the fun of it, right? That's the beauty of it. But yeah, it was kind of surprising because I think of myself as a pretty gentle person in real life. I like to think of myself as kind. So to like do that and to bring that aggression out is like a lot of fun. I've also like enjoyed combat sports, and I did karate like in middle school. I was almost a black belt, but then I had to quit. But yeah, anyway.
That's interesting. I just wondered because you said I never even thought to ask that. Like you get hit for the first time, someone who's experienced it, and it's your first match, and you get that first pop, and oh my God, I need to turn it on, and I need to give this pop back to you. Like,
yeah, or he'll be pissed. Like,
yeah,
he would rather me give it back than give him a piece of shit punch,
Right. Right. So, you're in your first like few matches. Now, this is all 880. Is it in that building, the one on Dottie Block or
the old
Dottie
building?
Block?
Yeah. Fifth Avenue and New Kent.
So you're in that building. You got the crowd around. Tell us about like your first real like time where you're like, yeah, I'm in this. This is my thing now. And when was the first moment in your head you're like, yeah, I'm in this now?
Wow. That's tough because for a while there, like I was really confused. For a while there, I was really confused of like who Nix Wilde was, like in any way, shape, or form. And I really don't think I felt that feeling until me and Tati started tagging, and we made like a we were one of the very first organic tag teams at 880. I think we even formed right before Fourth Line. So that was a cool thing, like to be an original tag team from 880. Yeah, when we started doing that and coming out to My Chemical Romance, I was like, and the crowd loved that, and like that's when I was like, oh shit, yeah, the rush was really coming then.
Yeah.
I did get to tag team. I did get to team with Billy Dixon, like in my third match ever, and that was a really cool moment for me too. But yeah,
Billy has grown on us. There was a point a few years ago where
I was going to say a favorite of ours, or he likes us.
There was a discussion about how he just didn't do it for us. Like I think we were watching an Enjoy show. And we're just like, Billy doesn't do it for us. He's probably a really nice person behind the scenes, but like he just doesn't do anything for any of us. And he took it the wrong way and like was really like came at us about it. And it's like, dude, that's not how, like we were not shitting on you. Like we just say you don't do anything for us. Like there are certain wrestlers that just don't click with me. It's for whatever reason it happens.
Sure.
But Billy's work that he's been doing in Enjoy has been really fun to watch with Sonny, and he's really grown on me in the last year. So, I mean, once you find that like that whatever it is, like it's very similar to like you were doing stuff with Tatiana and you were kind of like this just white meat baby face. There wasn't a whole lot to you. But you turned the corner when you turned heel, and like when like I didn't watch for a little bit and came back into it, and you really like took it to the next level when you became a heel, and like you made a lot of changes. We could tell like you slimmed down because like you and stuff like that, and we really noticed, and it was like, oh shit, like Nix is really getting it, and it's been a massive change, like in just like 2 years that you've been doing it, 3 years now. So it's really cool to see.
Just over 2 years. And I was going to say that was the second switch because I was having fun doing that for a long time, but it got to a point where I was like, I think we've hit like a plateau here. And when the heel turn happened is when I've heard like so many people have just been like, you're locked in. Like I can see it in your eyes. Like you're locked in, and I feel locked in. I really do. Yeah.
Was there any trepidation with you with turning heel? But kind of a lot of guys that they don't like getting booed. They want to be baby faking, but they don't want to get booed.
I had that had been when we started talking about it like months before. I was like, I don't know. Like I like this, but then it ended up being like my idea. I started talking about it for like months before it happened. I was like, we might want to think about this. Like we're getting a lot of tag teams and we're kind of getting lost in the shuffle. I think it might be more interesting for both me and for Tatiana. Like, I don't think she's benefiting from this either. And I was like, maybe we shake things up around here.
I like that. I think that's a great idea, and that sounds very organic to say, okay, we're just going to shake it up, and I don't have any ego to stay as a face or whatever, right? Like, let's run with it, see what happens.
I love it. It's been fun. I feel like I've completely gone off the rails of what the original question was.
Oh, I think we're doing just fine.
Yeah, I think I did that too. Like, because we were talking about your third match ever was with Billy Dixon, and then I went off on a story, and then we kind of came back around to like coming around on your character. Yeah. And then Jared asked a question, so like, yeah, we're just kind of flowing. We're flowing with the conversation.
Yeah,
we're going.
Totally. Yeah, go with the flow.
And well, so okay, so since you brought that up, so who's Nix Wilde then at this point? What do you envision? Who are you?
Nix, like the black sheep Nix Wilde is this like disillusioned, speaking in truths, but taking those truths and twisting them and making, I don't know, like they are obsessed, just an obsessive personality on and blaming everybody but themselves for their shortcomings.
Now, if I could just ask you real quick, did you I don't know if it's the camera or not. You had blonde hair when I first saw you. So your hair is not blonde anymore.
I've gone through a lot of hair changes over just the past year. This is my fourth color in just a year.
So I remember you as a rookie. Yes, it was
pink,
blonde. Yep.
Blue, and now we're back. Now I'm at like this reddish brown.
Okay. Was that part of the transformation, like getting, almost like Superman in the
Yeah.
black costume?
Yeah, in a way. It's in a way. I'm thinking, yeah. All of my hair decisions now I base off of what's happening in wrestling. So I talk about it with friends who aren't in wrestling, and they're like, "Well, why don't you do this?" And I'm like, "No, you don't understand."
Yeah.
I have to think about who I look like, what I look like now.
Right.
Because eventually you get to do the hair versus hair or the hair versus something and
I've
do the
suggested that
shave.
match so many times. I've suggested that match, Butters. So many times I've suggested that match. And it's always like, why the fuck do you want to do a hair versus hair match? It's like, so I have a reason to shave my fucking head.
Right. It's just something different. It'll advance your character. It'll change your character. You're like, when you do that to yourself, then you're going to be looking in the mirror and be like, who is this person? And you're going to change even more. You just keep building. Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from.
Are you comfortable with the shape of your melon to be able to do that? Like
I've had a shaved head a number of times in my life, and I look good with a shaved head.
All right, that's important. You don't want to be, this dude I ride to train with, his head looks like an egg, and it literally goes to a point. And I feel bad for him because he's, he rides the train. I'm sure he's got a lovely life and everything, but he's got the sides going and just that little point on the top of his head, and he looks like that pinhead dude from the Alex Winters movie.
Oh my god!
But here's the brilliant part: even if a head doesn't look good shaved, he can still shave it. Then he can do like the Mac gimmick or the headgear gimmick and cover it up anyway, and be a bit shield about it.
Yeah, I mean,
there's way around
you
it.
do so much fun stuff with it. Like wrestling is such a fun like art form to play with, and like you take these like things that you've seen before, but you can put your own spin on it and make it its own thing. And like it's so fun to like sit and look at that. Like we were just talking earlier about some stuff we want to do in the future, and I'm just like I just was watching some old ECW and was like saw something, and I'm like, that's brilliant. Like why I haven't seen that before ever. Like this would be amazing in today's like space. Like why has nobody done this? And like it's really cool to like just go look at old stuff and like be like, okay, I can see where they did that and why they did this, but then you figure out your own spin on it and it just makes it even cooler. So like yeah, man, I feel like you're feuding with like Reese and Mikey and they love their hair, so like obviously you would think that there would be a point where like somebody's got to get their head shaved, and I know Reese really loves them locks. So
I originally wanted that match with Tatiana to be a hair versus hair match, but
that'd have been really interesting.
That was my original idea for the heel turn was to turn heel on Tati and then to set up 3 matches and I lose the first 2 and then we finish it off in a hair versus hair match.
Actually, that's really that's a good idea.
But it didn't happen that way.
Never does. It never happens the way you want it to.
It's fine.
But it's a fun concept. I like talking about it.
I have a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, Jhawk, you go. I got a few other nonsense things for Nix later, so you go.
Okay. Well, I like kind of digging into the background, especially if people before they get into wrestling. You mentioned karate earlier. Is there anything you've taken from karate that you brought into wrestling? I mean, obviously you don't do a karate gimmick, but are there other things you can carry over?
Definitely footwork. It definitely helped a lot with footwork. I found myself being pretty balanced like early on in wrestling. And that was nice. There's a lot of stances that you end up taking like when you're going for a headlock or locking up or anything like that, mostly with chaining, where you can just like I can just get into like a karate stance and I'm stable and like, I feel like it's easy to get kind of shaky when you're doing chain wrestling. Some people do it in like a shaky way and it's like, that doesn't look very good. So that's a thing. Yeah.
Okay. Now what up about your background? What are you doing outside of wrestling, I guess?
I'm a former musician. And I did do theater a little bit too. So I love performing. I love acting. I've done a couple movies with amateur wrestler Reese Hayes, actually. We did a short film called Playdate. And then me and Gianni were in another one of his movies called Monologues. I'm plugging this. You're welcome, Reese Hayes. And Reese might be working on another movie that I'll be in soon. So, yeah, I like to stay busy with that stuff. I don't play music as much as I used to, but I semi-toured. I did a little bit of touring as a musician. And I will be playing a show actually coming up for the first time in 3 years.
What do you play?
I play guitar and sing. I'm a singer-songwriter. I used to be in a band called Younger that was like a solo project for a long time. And then I added a couple members to that band. I was in a pop punk band. I was in a fucking Christian metal band when I was in high school because everybody was,
Because why not? Yeah.
I grew up in small town Pennsylvania and was alt in the way that I loved metal, but also I loved God.
Ever consider recording your own theme song? That way you don't have to worry about copyrights and shit?
I have thought about that. However, my friends in Fall 50 Feet are the people who do, I picked one of their songs for my new entrance music when I turned heel. And I was like, hey, y'all cool if I use this? And they were like, yep. So I get to use that now, at least until they eventually get signed and need royalties. But yeah, that song rips, and Fall 50 Feet is really good. All one word. I don't know. I'm going to plug a bunch of people.
Do it.
I'll do it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Do it.
exactly.
Absolutely.
But they're way better musicians than me, so that's why I chose them.
That's cool.
Okay, now obviously most of your wrestling happened in the Pittsburgh area. I did notice you did a show in Florida a few months ago.
I did. I actually just got back from doing another show in Florida last weekend. I wrestled Brittany Jade. Yeah, we went down for Fest Wrestling.
I haven't heard that name in a while. That's cool.
They did. Yeah, they still run their yearly show at Fest in Gainesville. But now, but with COVID, they weren't able to run as much as they wanted to, like around the year. But they're starting to make a comeback. January or last weekend was their first non-Fest show in a few years. So, and they're having another one in March. I'm not sure if I'll be on that one, but they're a great company. Yeah, I got to do that, so that was cool.
You notice any difference in the fans in Florida compared with the fans in Pittsburgh?
Well, I don't know. It's the fans in Gainesville specifically, and specifically Fest Wrestling reaches out to like that punk fan base. So it's pretty similar to like the fan base that I'm used to here, with 880 and with Enjoy. But that's really, I really didn't notice a difference with that. I've noticed a big difference when I've wrestled, like I wrestled for VCW a couple times down in West Virginia, and I do notice those differences.
Yeah, a lot of those fans still believe too. I've done a few shows down in West Virginia.
A lot of those fans still believe, and an old woman told me I was fat, and I was like, that was the first time anybody had ever commented on my body when I went to the ring, and I was like, fuck. That feels weird.
Like a new thing unlocked in your system. You're like, son of a bitch. I didn't plan on coming home with a new insecurity in my brain. Thanks, lady, you fucking piece of shit. Now I got this fucking going on in my head.
I haven't been fat shamed since high school. Damn,
Yeah,
right?
but you know, wrestling is like that. There's not going to be that mentality indie wise. I mean, you get anywhere off the coasts, and you're going to get that. People who still think those are good ways to go after heels or go after somebody.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Well, let me ask you something, because we had Sammy on last week and Aleo the week before, and they're both they have the palates of a toddler.
Holy shit!
I'm wondering.
I believe that.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your food preferences when you're on the road. What are you looking for? And if you tell me that you don't use condiments or anything, I'm gonna be very disappointed.
You got to do it right, JGold. It's if you had to choose between Waffle House, Sheetz, or Wawa, what are you choosing?
Oh shit! I gotta go with Waffle House because there's not a lot of it around here. And And every Wawa experience I have is like mediocre at best. I like Sheetz, but I'm around it so much and I've had so much of it that it's like almost disgusting to me now.
So what's your Waffle House order then?
I'm getting biscuits and gravy, sausage gravy.
That's my favorite.
Biscuits and sausage
there
gravy.
You go.
I'm getting a waffle. I'm getting a couple waffles. Definitely getting hash browns. I'm definitely getting like 2 eggs over medium.
Nice. All right. So
Hot sauce on the eggs. Like a lot of hot sauce on the eggs.
What are you putting on the hash brown?
A lot of hot sauce on the hash browns.
are you an adventurous eater? Are you?
I'm a pretty adventurous eater.
Would you eat guinea pig?
Yeah. Would you eat guinea pig with me? Because that's what I had that a couple months ago. It's good.
I would do it in a place that it's legal to eat a guinea pig.
Yeah, it's legal. All these Peruvian restaurants, you can eat them.
You go to Florida, you can have gator.
There's Peruvian restaurants in America. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where
that serve guinea pig.
Yeah.
Huh.
It was one of their. I'm in a dinner club here in Long Island. We go to like all these different cultural restaurants once a month. So one of our months was Peruvian food, and the challenge food was guinea pig, cuy. But yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Was that in New York, though?
Yeah,
like,
in Long Island. Yeah, right out on the island by me. And that was delicious. But a lot of people I've said I had it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I had that already." I'm like, "God damn it!" I like to make do better. Like we did like pig's blood stew one time. We did intestines and stomach at another restaurant. We did scorpions and snakes in another.
Whoa.
Yeah, so we try all this stuff. But like I ran that by your cohorts, and they all eat like they're sitting at a Pizza Hut, hoping their parents get them the nuggies.
Tammy and Aleo are also, what are they, like 19?
Yeah.
Yes, they're babies. I know, but I like to make sure maybe it'll get their mind expanded so that they hear it enough. They're like, oh shit, I do this.
They'll eat more than macaroni and cheese.
Yes, more than the mac and cheese. Yeah.
So the next couple months, since Sammy lives close to me, I'm gonna take him to shows. I already got him on the next Neo Pro show. And I plan on taking him to Sheetz and making him try shit he would not try and filming it and putting it up on like Instagram or like something. So I'm excited to try that. I need to see this kid eat some of this like stuff. I can't believe he claimed he never had a sandwich, but then he told us he had like 2 different sandwiches, but he's never had like a sub sandwich. So like I got to get him to eat like some type of sub sandwich, like a meatball sub or something.
I've never talked to Sammy about his food preferences.
What
That's
did he say?
crazy.
He didn't like bread? He said he didn't like bread, right?
Yeah, he doesn't eat bread. Like if he gets a cheeseburger, it's just that he just wants the meat and the cheese. He doesn't want bread. He doesn't. 90% of the time he doesn't like bread. He'll eat like a quesadilla. Yeah, but he doesn't like. Yeah, he doesn't like
sun time or what the fuck.
I tried to talk him into having a cheesesteak or something. He's like, oh,
yeah. He said he almost had a cheesesteak once. He's like, I almost had one. Yeah, and he said if he goes to New York, he'll eat whatever the dude Aki makes for him. If Aki made him a sandwich, he said he would eat that no problem. So I want to test him out. I want to start making him eat weird shit when we go to Sheetz.
Yeah.
Coming soon to the IWGuide Patreon. Ruckler try new food.
Yes, that would be great. And come with me to a dinner club. You want to try some of that shit? We'll really put it to the
next
test.
time you're in New York.
That's right.
Hit up JGold and he'll.
Last month was Taiwanese. They had the century egg. So that was something. And stinky tofu.
Waiting for Josh to be like, hey, look, I'm eating monkey brains like in the second Indiana Jones movie. I did goat brains. I did goat brains at the Southern Indian restaurant in New Hyde Park. That was fun, and it's delicious.
The closest that came to something like that was squirrel jerky, which is really fucking good, by the way.
Listen, my cholesterol doesn't let me do that as much anymore. So if I have to go easy on the brain and the organ meat because it's not good for me. But still, I ate a handful of Crestor and I'm good to go.
Holy shit!
And if you're anywhere in the Mid-Atlantic states or in Florida and they've got Gator on the menu,
yes sir,
yeah, you gotta try Gator.
Gator's good shit.
I do want to try Gator. That does sound good.
Gator sausage. Next time when you go down there, Gator sausage is delicious.
Gator sausage. Yeah. When we were down there, I was like, "Is there Del Taco down here?" And we did find a Del Taco.
Did you go to a Buc-ee's?
We didn't go to a fucking Buc-ee's. I have never been to a Buc-ee's. I've been on tour so much, and I'm traveling now as a professional wrestler. I still have not gone to a fucking Buc-ee's.
When you go to
It makes me
Buc-ee's, they
so
have
mad.
a wall of jerky. They have gator jerky on that wall.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have amazing brisket and like amazing
getting
food.
it.
Like it's amazing. I highly
That's a
recommend.
city, right? It's like the
It's like dude. It's like
Trucker
a.
City.
It's like almost like a Walmart for gas. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
yeah. My brother's
crazy.
been there twice.
is
He just loves
bonkers.
it. Yeah.
When I went to Dallas, I went to one with Zach, our buddy Zach, and we walked around that thing like my first time for like an hour, just looking at everything. And then the second time was like me going in, like seeing stuff from before, and was like, I need to get this, I need to get this, I need to get this. And then I set myself like a big like thing of stuff back because like I couldn't carry it on the plane. I had so much shit.
Holy shit.
You just go on those kind of like runs in a store like that. I would have to have all the merch. First of all, I'd be wearing Buc-ee stuff everywhere I go. Just throwing all my money at like a Buc-ee sweatshirt and hat and t-shirts and everything.
They got
Gotta
like
have
all the
some of that.
crazy religious stuff in there too.
Yeah.
So like, you know, I have like the down home folksy religious stuff, and oh yeah, they got it all. It's great.
Holy shit.
Jayhawk, what else you got?
I was actually going to pack it off to you, Butters. I pretty much covered everything I want
I
to
got
cover.
some fun ones. I have a
let's
lot
do
of
it.
fun questions. What's the worst ring name you've ever heard?
Brother.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And you can't say Nix Wilde. You got to pick
Let's
somebody else.
bury some
Sure.
motherfuckers on here.
Sure. Okay.
So while you're thinking,
Honestly, it's as genius as it is. It makes me so mad that some guy named John got away with that. It's it's not that it's bad. Like, it is the worst ring name, but it's so bad that it's so fucking good. I would have to say some guy named John, just because I'm pissed off at him, because like that's a layup. Like, he just fucking went for it. And it happened by accident.
I always use that question because it was when Kevin Steen used to do his sit down interview shows on High Spots. He'd ask other wrestlers that question, and he would preface it with the story of when he worked in Canada. He worked for a promotion, and there was a wrestler named Little Asshole. And so that was his standard for like the worst name he's ever heard in his life. And that's why I always preface it. Like, I usually try to get it out there first before you like guess, so you have a couple seconds to think about it. But yeah, some guy named John, definitely the worst one.
Is it worse, or are you just jealous? Listen,
my buddy
It's
Zach.
both.
My buddy Zach messaged me and was like, I thought you were going to have John Thorne on because you just said some guy named John was coming on your podcast. He's like, I didn't know who the fuck that was. And then when then he listened to the interview and was like, holy shit, this guy's wrestling name is some guy named John. You could pick anything and that's what he picked.
oh, it's
I was like,
fucking
dude,
awesome.
I'm fucking
sorry.
saying, dude, it's wild. I love it. I love John. He's great. But yeah, that name is it's definitely up there.
It worked. It just worked out.
Yeah, I like to tell people mine, but when I got started, we had a trio of guys who had to have like sexual innuendo names. So we had Mike Hercum,
Oh God.
Buster Cherry,
Son of a bitch.
and Phil Lorkrevitz.
I hate it.
No, I just hate it. It's not the worst. I just fucking hate that uncreative dog shit. It's not the worst. It's just fucking terrible. It's just stupid. Fuck you for coming up with that. That's what I say.
Now they were fucking bad. Like even me, it's my first show in the business. I'm not going to say anything. I'm like, God, these names are fucking horrible.
Yeah,
They could all
you.
go work. They could all go work a show with Joey Ryan in hell.
Shit. She.
Buster Cherry was actually over, which was kind of scary. But
No way. What?
yeah,
That dude better have invented the Canadian destroyer to go out and still be Buster Cherry and have people get him over. It's ridiculous.
somebody I used to work with, when they found out I was going to going into business, I was like trying to get people to go to the show. Like, I don't know, I don't really like wrestling. And then they looked at the website called Buster Cherry's name on the website. Like, I'm going to the show. Like, fuck. Okay.
Oh my God. That is fucking
Buster
atrocious.
Cherry selling tickets. Jesus Christ.
It's atrocious.
Buster Cherry could draw, at least for one person.
Woof.
That's the goal, right? Sell some tickets.
Exactly.
Oh Lord.
Okay.
Butters?
Do you have a pre-show ritual? Like I know your trainer MV says he does 1,000 push-ups. I've seen him. I've seen how many he does.
He
I
does.
won't
It's
say the
1,000.
number, but
It's
That number
1,000.
goes up every time somebody's on the show. Is it? I thought it was 500.
it's because I always make it I'm making something crazy every time because it's a funny bit.
I think he hit 1,001 last week.
Push-ups.
I believe it. Like total that he's ever done in his lifetime.
That's the kicker to the number going up every week.
What?
It's like the Goldberg defeated number.
Oh,
it just changes every week.
No. As far as a pre-match ritual, though, I kind of do push-ups. I don't do as many as MV Young does. He does do a lot of push-ups, but I don't do as many as he does. It's not 1,000, but I'll do like 20. I'll do like 20. I'll do some squats, I do stretches. I don't really have I would say though, like right before I go out when my music hits, and especially now since turning heel, when my music hits and then like the first lines are like, you won't, I end up screaming that to myself and then like flipping my switch in my head so that when I turn around, I'm not me. And so I'd say that, yeah, that's kind of like my ritual is like right before I hit the curtain.
Right on.
Yeah.
So what's you wrestled for 2.5 years now, roughly. Has there been any like super weird places that you've wrestled?
Yeah, I wrestled a birthday party. I wrestled a birthday party where there were about 10 people. And fuck. I don't know if Brandon St. James might fucking hate me for telling the story. I had to dress up like Wendy, the Wendy's mascot. And this was maybe like a month and a half after I debuted. It was the middle of winter and and Brandon had to dress up like Ronald McDonald. So the person whose birthday it was a really big fan of Wendy's, the fast food chain. So her sister hired us through MV Young to do a birthday party, and we dressed up. I dressed up like Wendy, and he dressed up like Ronald McDonald. And then I attempted to put him through a door in front of 10 people, mind you, on their porch by leaning the door up against like the railing of their porch, like, and I am dressed as Wendy. Keep this in your head. I've got a wig on, makeup, like the whole 9 yards, the stockings, the skirt. I looked incredible, and I'm like trying to spear Brandon St. James, who's dressed like Ronald McDonald, through a door, and the door didn't budge. And I did it 3 times. And eventually he was like, dude, stop. and I just pinned him.
Outstanding.
Please tell me there's photos of you guys dressed up.
I think I could find them. Yeah.
Oh my god! I might need you to DM me those photos. I need to see them. Just oh Jesus Christ, that's hilarious. Oh my god!
And then I had to stay dressed up as Wendy for a little bit after. It was the wildest thing I've ever done. It was so funny.
I'm just trying to think how Brandon St. James with his luscious beard had to put like white paint on his beard to like look like Ronald. That's so that's awful.
It was really funny, but we did get we got paid.
I mean, that's gotta be like
it was my first paid gig.
That's got to be like a number 2 up there with the Charles Manson elementary school. location of wrestling.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, I wrestled in that elementary school. Yeah.
Really?
That's definitely up there.
I wrestled at VCW. Yeah, I wrestled there.
Oh, you went to that one too. All right.
I did. Bishop Donahue.
Oh my God. Well,
All right.
I think.
My last question. What has been the craziest fan interaction that you've had? Sammy told us about how this woman would molest him after matches, but
Whoa.
well, not so much molest, but caress his hands in his face. And but he
Wow.
said she was a very sweet girl. So
Wow. Craziest fan interaction. I don't know.
have you ever had anybody like get in the ring? Because
I was gonna say,
you guys
wrestle
don't have a
in that-
barricade, so like
yeah, you wrestle in that 880 building.
my
Give
first
us something
time
crazy.
on Dottie Block, I watched somebody try to trip up Derek during his match and like got
Oh, yeah,
chased out of
Derek
the
almost
building
killed
by Brohemoth down the street.
Brohemoth, that's
so
right.
Yeah, that was funny. That was really funny. Fucking idiot. And like anybody would have just beat the absolute piss out of that dude if he would have gotten in the ring. It would have been, what an idiot. I don't know. I definitely I've had some cool I don't know. I've never really had like a bad interaction quite yet.
I mean, I say craziest. It could be like a really good interaction. Like it could be like if one time a fan gave me like $100 and was like, "Good job." Like I don't know, that's crazy.
I do
It's a crazy story.
I do get an occasional joint after matches. I do get the occasional. So those are fun. That's always good. Yeah. I'm sorry I don't have that an interesting.
You'll get there, Nix. Don't worry. Eventually, it's going to happen.
And then you'll have it. You'll have it in the chamber for like the next time you get to do an interview. Like you come back with us in like 2 years to do an interview, and you'd be like, "I have a story for you." Like
True. But also, what if I'm just keeping a story within myself because maybe there are people that listen to this podcast that would hear me tell that story, and I don't want them to feel weird.
I mean,
well,
that's possible, I guess. Like,
you know what? It's not my responsibility not to make people feel weird. So, go right ahead.
If you do weird shit at wrestling shows, you're going to be called out eventually. Like somebody saw it, a wrestler saw it. They're going to talk about it if it made them feel weird. Like,
that's right.
Sorry, it's going to happen.
Nothing concerning. I would have already done something about that.
Like when Sammy told us his, like, it was just like, oh, this woman just caressed my face and told me I had a really good match, and she like stroked my arm, and I'm like, it's a little concerning. You're a young kid. Like,
that's weird.
Yeah.
It's a little weird. Little like, what
Definitely
is it? I didn't ask him if it was like a 90-year-old woman like trying to like bed him or something, but
that's what Jhawk gets at his shows.
I think I remember him telling me about that situation. I don't think it's happened since, so that's good.
that is good.
Christ.
That is good.
I will protect Sammy with my life.
Yes,
I love that boy. He's a sweet boy.
That young boy, Sammy.
You're not doing your job at a heel until you have a fan actually get out of their seat and like grab you because you're in their fucking way.
Right. I mean, I've definitely definitely gotten some good ass heat, but I don't know. There are still some people that like to cheer me, and I'm like, stop it.
Yeah, like I'm doing my job here. Like, knock it off.
You know what? Shades of gray. That's how it works.
People are going to cheer heel because they're heels.
Maybe those people that you just need to get in their face one time and just be like, call them something really mean, and then that'll break them, and they'll forever hate you after that point.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, look to say something mean to somebody. That's
hell yeah.
Like, you probably can't cook worth a shit. That'll just set them off, and they'll fucking hate you forever.
I did make a child cry.
Oh yeah.
Now we're talking.
Hell yeah.
When I turned heel, I did make Reese's #1 fan absolutely, like, she was really sad, and I did go up to the locker room and went.
Okay, my favorite heel turn at a show I was never on. We had this guy Trip Lee started the show with a baby fake. He turned heel at the end of the night, but he got an intermission being the baby fake and signing autograph. And some woman comes up to him, showing off her cleavage, like, sign my chest, and he signed her chest. And then he turned heel at the end of the night, and this woman with his autograph on her chest, it's like yelling at him and cucking him, like throwing punching at him and shit.
I like that.
And then she got a butcher knife and cut her tits off. end.
My God.
The end, right? The lesson learned.
I mean, I might have convinced her to take her yearly shower early that year.
God damn.
What in the world?
I can be a
Good
fucking heel,
Lord.
bitch.
Yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
that you do some manager work. Tom Dunn was posting pictures of him with the mask on as like the heel manager, and I was like,
Yes.
oh man, maybe I need to bring in heel Tom Dunn to do some work.
Heel Tom Dunn did some good shit. I was on a lot of those shows too.
So
Sometimes he would referee without the mask in the first half of the show, then manage in the second half, and the whole gimmick was you knew who he won.
Right.
So what else? We good?
Yeah,
I got nothing
I
else.
asked everything
All
I
right,
had.
Nix. Now it's time for you to give us your plug away. Give us everything where you're gonna be, what you're gonna do.
I will be. You can see me on most Thursday night fights, 880 Wrestling on indiewrestling.us, every Thursday at 8 p.m. I'm also going to be going to Indianapolis Royal Rumble weekend. Friday, we're doing a joint show as a part of like the Naptown weekend that they're doing basically there. Friday with what's that? What's the name of that promotion? Oh shoot, it's 880 Wrestling and
Oh boy.
oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the promotion. It's like AR5. It's like it's in
W4A
Atlanta.
or something like that.
W4A. Yes, that's it. And yeah, there's a bunch of cross promotion 880 Wrestling versus these other promotions and
WW4A, yeah, or WWA4. That's what it is.
Thank you, Butters.
At 3 p.m. Friday, January 31st.
That's it.
I
Butters
have
has-
the graphic because I was talking to Mikey about it.
Perfect. Yes. I'll be going to that. I'll be on that show along with Gianni, Michael Enrico, and Reese and MV. Den of Desire, I believe, is on that show. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be sick. I'm excited for that. Other than that, I got nothing totally scheduled yet, but I'm making a lot more moves recently. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this whole year. Enjoy coming up. I don't know if I'm on that or not, but I will be there in some capacity helping out.
They should have you as one of the congregation for the.
I'll be a bridesmaid.
Yeah.
Always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Maybe the ring bearer or something. They got to have you do something cool like that. Yeah,
I'd make a great ring bearer. Yeah, that'd be great. Oh yeah. Sorry, what else? Anyway, yeah, you can find me on social media. Nix_Wilde on everything. I'm probably gonna stop using X soon. But I'm on Blue Sky, I'm on Instagram, and I'm happy to have been here.
Excellent. Jayhawk. Before we say goodbye, we'll get the plugs in. Jayhawk, go ahead.
Oh wait, my last thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to be wrestling Reese Hayes in an I Quit match at Misconnections, 880 Wrestling Misconnections, February 14th, Valentine's Day. That's the next big 880 Wrestling show. That's the next premium live event that we are doing. Our PLE. I can't believe I forgot that. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Jayhawk.
No, you're perfectly fine. I guess all the main social is Ref Jayhawk, Twitch, TikTok, Blue Sky, I guess X for the time being. Also, I'm on Instagram at Jayhawk1539, although I'm like never actually on there, so don't bother using that one if you can avoid it. I don't have anything until NeoPro on the 15th, I don't think, for booking wise. So,
Butters?
Yeah, so Toy Hio is February 8th. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I'll be there probably working with Luchasaurus or one of the women from AEW, Julia Hart, or what's her face?
Harley Cameron.
Harley Cameron, yeah. That. Then, Dan Housen will be there again to hang out. AIW's that night. And then February 15th, man, we got Neo Pro. We got Sammy against Zay Garcia on the pre-show. And we got Mikey versus Gary J for the IWGuide title, which I am so proud of that match. I'm so proud of that match compared to even the 4-way when we first crowned our champion. I'm probably just as excited, but I feel like for some reason that match, just working with Will and making that come to life and happen, is just like the coolest thing to me.
This one feel bigger because Gary J feel bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a knock on anybody that was in that 4-way, but
No,
Gary J's been around for
so long. Like I remember going and seeing him and like watching him 10, 15 years ago. Like that, he's been around for so long, and like he's a legendary indie wrestler to me. And it's like
that Twitter handle will always be legendary. Stiff Robo Ginger.
Yep,
I like that.
Like he's done it all, seen it all, and like he's going over to the UK like not long after this match. Like, what if he beats Mikey and takes that belt to the UK and makes it a world title? Like that could happen. Like it's crazy to think about.
Nice. Well, you can find me on Twitter or Instagram at JGold12. Please rate and subscribe wherever you listen to us. Check out the Twitter handle IWGuide1, patreon.com/IWGuide. Don't forget about the merch store. I just got myself a hoodie with our new logo on it over at brainbustertees.com. It came in like 4 days. Unlike, unfortunately, my Main Event Wrestling Network t-shirt, hoodie, which is still in production a month later over at Spring. Gorilla Press Apparel, when you use code IWGP24 at checkout, when you buy 2 more items, you get $20 off your entire order. Check out our podcast friends, the Main Event Wrestling Network, Wrestling Junkies, and On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, and a bunch of other shows they have on there. I will be on again on the Main Event Mixer next Sunday at noon on YouTube. At Odds with Wrestling, the card is going to change. A super fantastic podcast. Marks with Mikes, and our other friends, Time Capsule Toys, Toy Hio, Rubber City Toys, Neo Pro Wrestling, and Smokin' Jay's Barbecue, the best barbecue in Ohio. That's all I got.
Life short. Watch more indie wrestling.
Thanks again, Nick.
Thanks, y'all.
Don't forget to review and subscribe wherever you listen to us. Find us online at Facebook and Instagram at the Indie Wrestling Guide, and on X or Twitter at IWGuide1.